Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fearlessly Authentic. I'm your host, Jody Harrison Bauer, and I'm so happy to have you join me again. And if you are a new time listener, thank you for joining me. Welcome to the show. This is a show where we talk about educating you, empowering you, entertaining you, as most of my guests do, and I hope that I do when I'm doing a solo show, and then inspiring you to live in your truth, be courageous, be fearlessly authentic, because I was always afraid to take risks until I wasn't. And now life is beautiful because I've taken those risks. And every single time I decide to take a chance on me, I grow and grow as a person. And it's just more fulfilling to live my life this way. So we have 100 countries listening to the show right now. I want to thank you and welcome you. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. You can find me any place on any social platform at Jody Harrison Bauer. And if you want to check us out on YouTube, check out my guest today. We are on YouTube at Jody Harrison Bauer also. So Fearlessly Authentic on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to streaming podcasts, that's where I am. And again, I just want to thank you so much for listening. And we're going to get right into the show today with my special guest and actually a longtime friend, I would have to say, Dave Parise. Welcome to the show, Dave.
Hey, Jody, thank you so much for inviting me to the show. I listened to your podcast and they're absolutely awesome and they're authentic, which is the best part about your show.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And, I like to bring people in who are helping people be fearlessly authentic. And somebody like you who has been in the fitness industry for 32 years, you owned your own gym. You were way ahead, as I knew. That's when I met you, was like in the middle somewhere. And you were always ahead of the wave. You were always educating people. You were always talking about, core strength when nobody else was talking about it. And you had your own private facility educating people all along, educating educators, because again, you were ahead of like understanding what fitness and wellness and education meant and how important it was for people to take care of their bodies. And after 32 years, you decided to sell your studio, your fitness facility, and retire and follow a lifetime passion of being a creator. Tell me about that.
Yeah. And, you just laid the entire foundation, because without the experience of me taking that risk, I've been a risk taker all my life. And without me having the 32 years or the wherewithal to get through that process and make so many mistakes, I cannot tell you how many mistakes that I have made in 32 years. And every single mistake has been an incredible lesson. And it led me to the next level. So if you have a goal in mind and you have 10 levels, I mean, I must have reached level 3 probably 10 times because I always fell off 3 and went back down to 1. So after running that organization for 32 years, that was very successful in the training industry. Like you said, I was always the guy who was taking the bathwater from the baby. It's an old cliche, which means all the exercises that you ever seen in the fitness industry, I was the one saying, please don't do that. Let's try this. There is a better way. And finally, the truth goes through 3 stages. First, you're laughed at, then you're ridiculed, and then it's self-evident.
And they start following you.
I was always the guy getting laughed at. But then again, everybody came around in the end and said, you know what? Dave Parise knew what he was talking about when he was, 30 years ago, telling people not to do burpees, telling people not to do all these different exercises. But that led me to the passion where I am today and the success that I have created for my own self. And others, obviously, because I'm creating products that do not harm. I'm creating I have a product called the INERTIA Wave, and that all that foundation that was set prior to this is really what I dedicate everything to now, and that's what my passion is. I mean, without it, I could never have.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, you froze just for a second. Go ahead.
Yeah. I wanted to touch on a point that you said when you were explaining your past and how it's led to where you are now and all the fails that you had. And I think it's important for people to listen and hear you when you say, look, you're not a 20 something here that's out there just trying all these things. You've been in this industry your whole life. You've been educating yourself and others your whole life. And if it wasn't for the failures that you endured, which I'm sure at the time, because like myself, I have failed also. I have been rejected, and it's built our resiliency to power forward. Now, not everybody is like that. And what I want people to understand from what you're saying is that if you fail, get back up again. It's like training, right? Life is like training.
Right.
It is such a great metaphor for training. If you fail, you will succeed. How many times have you taken a client to failure and all of these ideas that you had until you realize, okay, this is where I want to be? So I just think that's a great point for people to understand, is the failure is part of the success.
Failure turned inside out is success. If you don't fail, you're never going to get from point A to point B. It's absolutely impossible, because I mean, I'm still learning now. I mean, I'm 62 years old, Jody. I think you knew that.
Yes.
And I'm still every single day learning more about customer service, more about the fitness industry, or excuse me, more about the industry that I'm in now, which
Right.
is being in the e-commerce industry, which is totally different. That's on the opposite side of the coin. And learning the ins and outs of ordering, just the simple, basic day-to-day things you need to do as a self-starter, as an entrepreneur. And it's exciting, and I love it.
Yeah.
And I love the ride so far. I've been doing it for 4 years, and I couldn't think of anything I'd rather do. And, like you mentioned, all these things that I did in the past, there would be no such thing as the inertia wave. And it wouldn't be where it is today if I didn't fail so many times,
Right.
doing my being in the fitness industry, owning that personal training center. Now, if
So
I
tell
may
us, so
be,
tell us how you created the inertia wave. What
well,
came to you in the middle of the night?
well, I've always wanted to invent something. I always had the heart to invent something. So any type of product that was on the market, I would always take it apart and try to make it a little better, make a little more functional, so to speak. There's a product on the market today that everybody knows of, at least most people know of, called battle ropes.
Right.
Okay. And I never really understood the physics behind a battle rope, because to me, it was nothing more than lift and slam a long rope, and I didn't get it. And I understood that it got you tired. And I saw on social media how cool it looked. So as far as the visualization aspect of it, it looked pretty cool. But I'm saying, wait a minute, 50 feet long, 30 pounds, cluttering up your workspace, people are tripping on it. And if they only knew what it was doing internally to them, creating forward head posture, protracted shoulder girdle, the rounding of the thoracic spine, there was, had these terms, it had just concentric, no eccentric.
Right.
It elevated the shoulder girdle, tightened up the neck muscles. It made absolutely no sense, no cognitive value whatsoever. And guess what? The creme de la creme, all the energy went into the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. Are we training because we want energy to come into our body? Yes. So I want some kind of feedback response. So what I did as an entrepreneur is I stripped the battle rope from its visual appeal. And I said, okay, let's make something that's quite the opposite. Instead of something that's anterior, let's make something that's posterior. Jody, as being a successful personal trainer, that we need to train and understand the muscles we don't see in the mirror. Okay, those are the muscles that are going to help our posture and our structure and our function.
Well, that's why, if I can interrupt you for a second, people like us who have a lot of education and experience look at the people with the muscle mirrors and we're like, dude or girlfriend, like, what are you doing? What
Right.
else is going on? Look at the way you're walking. Look at the way you're holding your body. All you care about are those mirror muscles. So go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt, but yes.
No, it's true. It's true. And I don't call them selfies. I call them lonelies. But anyway, but it is true. So when I stripped the battle from its visual appeal, I had to figure out in physics exactly what it did. What is a wavelength, and what kind of response or dynamic feedback is it going to have as you're using it, taking it through different motions. So I created a product that is mostly natural gum rubber. The rest is a patent that I have, a special ingredient that gives it like a spring-like effect. So when you're using the inertia wave, similar to a battle rope, you're not hitting the ground. That's number one. You're fighting against the kinetic energy that's built up in the tubes. That kinetic energy fires off the anchor point and comes back into your body on an integrated level. So you feel it from your ankles all the way up to your shoulder girdle. You feel it everywhere in your body. Now, depending on which way you move the rope, or move the inertia wave, you could get certain patterns and certain muscles to basically kick in. Like if you're doing an exercise called the crossfire, that's anti-rotation. You're going to feel it in your obliques and your abs. If you're doing an exercise called the inertia wave, you're going to feel it in your shoulder blades. So there's 18 different paths of motion that we go through with the inertia wave. Every motion might light up or send the message to a specific region, but everything's working. It's just like a human body. We're integrated. You can't shut off the biceps or shut off the forearms when you're doing a bicep curl. Everything is in there. So It's basically, it's an integrated program. The cool part about it is the testing was done at MIT, Penn State University. It burns more calories in 60 seconds than burpees and double under jump ropes. Now,
let me stop you for a second. Hold that thought, because I want to ask you a few questions about it. So the workout is intended to what?
Okay, the workout is a metabolic conditioning device. It's high intensity interval training.
Okay.
You cannot use the inertia wave more than 60 seconds. If you could, you're pretty superhuman.
I'm glad you said that. Okay, because you tested it on me and it kicked my ass. And what I love the most about it is everything you described, but that the core is fired up so much. I know everybody hears everything about core workouts.
Totally
you and I
engaged.
have been talking about it for what, over 20 years, and how people don't understand that. But you cannot do this without your core being fired up the entire time. And it really kicks your butt. And did you create it for every body to be able to use it, or is it for just elite athletes, or as we saw Miley Cyrus in her viral video Flowers using the inertia wave, which is so friggin' cool, or is it for just people who are already fit?
Okay, so when I first came out with it, I had a certain market niche in mind, and I never told you this, but it was the military. So I designed it for the military. My first presentation was here in Connecticut at the National Guard, and I got it approved pre and post deployment. I got it approved. I got my SAMS number, my DUNS number. I have military contracting, and then it went crazy in SWAT, police, fire, and all those municipalities. They were buying it and using it in their training programs. Then obviously, like everything else, it kind of went mainstream fitness. People started looking at it. What's that? Is that like a battle rope? Oh my God, it's so much better. It's superior for everything that it does. Then it went mainstream fitness. Then it went into kids programs. Then it went into active seniors. And then now it's very popular in adaptive training programs. So we have wheelchair athletes using it.
Wow.
Now, like you said, besides Miley Cyrus using it, and by the way, I love this song, and it really is a good song.
It's a great song. It's a great video. She looks so strong and powerful, really, and so many people can be inspired and motivated by that.
Yes. So during quarantine, it's one of those situations. Is the same situation? Here's the Miley situation. You get up in the morning and my phone rings, and it's an associate of mine. Hey, have you been on Instagram today? No. Why? Go check it out. Go to LeBron James's page. He just posted 9 videos on how he gets shredded in quarantine using the inertia wave.
No way.
And then I turn around and Rock's doing it, and Dwayne Johnson's using it. And then I see it in an Under Armour commercial with Lindsey Vaughn. So, and then Lindsey posts probably 9 times with her friends, and she's in Rock's studio doing it, and Rock's in the background training. And, so all the, Dwayne, all these things are happening organically. Okay. And I truly believe,
hey guys,
it's because of the hard work.
Dave, you froze. I went to commercial real quick. I'm just going to bring us back in. You're going to hear music for a second. Just go ahead and finish off what you were saying, okay? Sorry about that. Internet just froze.
You're talking about how it just, organically took off with people who are, been working out their whole lives, like The Rock, like Lindsey Vaughn.
Listen, if you have passion for something, anything in life, and if you put enough into it mentally and physically, more mentally, and you send that out to the universe, I truly believe it comes down. I mean, if you're doing the right thing, if you're treating people the way you want to be treated, if you're being kind, because kindness is probably the number one concern that any human can probably capture. If there's one thing in this world, we need to be kind and do not harm. And basically on that, I truly believe it's because I care so much about people and how they're going to better their lives in a wellness aspect, in a health aspect, because I've been doing it all my life. I truly believe that's why from being on Shark Tank, brothers, they bought 15% of I turned down a wonderful ride. I thank God, and I'm blessed. I just feel blessed.
Tell me about, you broke up a little bit there. I see the palm trees in the background, and it looks like it's cloudy in Florida, but it's cloudy up here in Connecticut too. But tell me about your experience on Shark Tank, and then how you got involved with Gronk and his family buying into the business, if I'm saying that correctly. If you can go into that and share that with us.
Okay, can you still see me?
I can see you.
I'm gonna go inside.
Okay.
It's just apologize. The reception is not good here. I was on Shark Tank. I applied for Shark Tank. Getting on Shark Tank is probably just as hard to get into Harvard, to be honest with you. No exaggeration. It's about a 600-page questionnaire, and then you find the job. And then after that, when I did get on, it was quarantine, and unfortunately I wasn't allowed to demonstrate the product, so I had to show videos. So based on that, 3 offers from the Sharks, I finally turned down Kevin, and Mr. Wonderful threw me out, so to speak, because I didn't take his deal. And then after that, the phone rings, and it was the Gronkowskis. It was Chris Gronkowski of Ice Shaker. And he said, we'll take that deal. My brothers and I would love to partner with you. And it's been fabulous ever since.
So much of what you're saying reminds me of, you sort of mentioned this in talking about how you got to this point, but it was believing in something that you're creating that could be for the better good of people. Again, fitness, health, for every demographic. So you started with the military, which is like how TRX started. A lot of fitness, I can't think of the right word, devices, equipment start with the military, and it's a great way to test it. But to make it so it could reach so many people, that comes with a certain kind of mindset. So we talked about the fact that you can't really succeed until you've hit a bunch of failures. Maybe there are a lot of people out there who might get lucky and reach an amazing success, but they are going to hit a failure at some point. We know that. I know I read a lot, you read a lot. But so much of it has to do with that positive mindset, and also seeing yourself as that human being who's bringing this to the masses for the better good. Yes, of course, your passion is bringing in a profit. You're not doing this for free, but I truly believe that when we create something, it's usually because we're super passionate about it. It's not about the money at first. It's never about the money at first. It's about the passion, and then it's the profit.
If you set out to make money as an entrepreneur, you're not going to make money. Right. It's all about relationships. And a quick story: I failed 3 times with a major organization who has about 4,000 to 5,000. It's a fitness franchise for the Inertia Way. 3 years in a row. No. Well, next week I get on a plane because they invited me down. So I didn't give up, but it's a relationship. I check in once in a while. I'm consistently connecting with them. I'm being professional, giving them little tidbits of information on why they should, do business with me, et cetera, et cetera. And then it finally clicks. I mean, that's what it's about. It's a process. But again, like I never even opened my personal training studio to make money. If I help people, if I help the accountant who's sitting down at his desk, 24/7, who's morbidly obese and, and he wants to see his daughter get married, but he's got all these, problems and he's on medication and heart and this and that. And he comes to my facility and loses 60 pounds and he has a clean bill of health. Guess what? He tells a few people, versus being upset. It's like when you go to a restaurant, business is like a restaurant. You go to a restaurant, you have a bad meal, you vent to the world. If you go to a restaurant and have a great meal, you tell a few friends, and that's what my whole process has been, telling a few friends about the inertia wave. And that leads to inertia wave and telling people about and posting. Social media is great without social media. It's not like the old school. We had brochures and business cards. So now it's social media all the way. There's content flying all day long with the inertia wave. Who's reposting, who's doing a story. So it's kind of it's on autopilot now at this point.
So you've really shifted as far as, when you had your facility being in there. Yes, you were running it. You were the businessman running it and also training people. And you've mentioned relationships a few times already. And I 100% agree with you. And when I tell other entrepreneurs that are in the service-oriented business that if you do not build a relationship, the reason people come back to you is because of what you're helping them do and because you've created a relationship with them. You can't be a shitty trainer. You couldn't have created a crappy product. Inertia wave has to work. All of these people wouldn't be using it if they didn't like it and didn't feel like it kicked their ass, right? But then they also have to, when it's one-on-one, when we were doing things like that, we were both training people, it had to do with the relationship. And, and that's what you're doing with all of these people that you're talking to.
Right. Features versus benefits. It's more important to talk about the benefits. It's just like when you go to a gym and they go, here's our ab section, here's our this, here's our that.
Yeah.
No, tell me what's going to happen to my body. Am I going to lower my blood pressure? What's going to happen? That internally, I want to see what's going to happen. So it's all about, so I discuss the benefits of the inertia wave. The thing is,
so give me I want you to give us the benefits of the inertia wave. If somebody were to go out and purchase it after hearing this show, what type of, how are they going to feel? What are the results they should see if they use it consistently and correctly?
They're automatically going to increase their cardiovascular respiratory system. It's going to, it's called, almost superhuman. You supercharge your cardiovascular system tremendously because your body is going to elevate its heart rate within the first 30 to 40 seconds. You're going to have to stop and catch your breath and go by your perceived rate of exertion. Depending on the motion that you do, you're going to engage every single muscle in your body on an integrated level, but it's high intensity. It's like saying you're jumping rope with your entire body, not just, jumping up and down with your legs, so to speak. It's going to increase hand and eye coordination, cognitive brain awareness. There's so many different benefits with the inertia wave. It's going to strengthen your core, which is probably the number 2 on the list.
So the cognitive,
besides the cardiovascular system.
I want to touch on the cognitive for a second, because I did test drive the product, and it did take me, we're the same age. We're not dumb. And we know our bodies very well, but you were teaching me how to use it. And there's that cognitive skill that I really loved. Like, it's giving me goosebumps to think about it now, because it's something we don't think about until we're older and we have some perspective and realize, I got to keep working my brain and my body. And we know this from what we've done, but people don't understand that at 20 or 30, you need to keep that sharp. And I love that the inertia wave really hones in on that. I really felt that.
It's overwhelming in regards to how much you have to think as you're moving those tubes in specific paths of motion. Like I said, there's 18 paths. And then it gets even more beneficial than that. You're going through a specific path. You have to slow down, go through the next path, go through the next path. So there's a series of 18 paths. You don't have to do it that way. You could segue one at a time and take a rest. But some of the A-list athletes and professionals out there who have become a master at the inertia wave and that are using it in their metabolic or conditioning program. They go through every single method a couple times a week, trying to transition from one method to the next. And it is used a lot, like for instance, in tennis to enhance your, your speed, your timing, your rhythm, but it's also used in therapy. We have neurosurgeons using it for brain injuries in the hockey industry. So it's hitting because it is a proprioceptive neuromuscular device. It has perturbation properties, so you can use it in physical therapy. So it kind of checks all the boxes from kids programs all the way to senior programs and everything in between, which is basically what I had in mind after it went mainstream fitness. I'm saying to myself, again, here's the process of learning. This device can be used by anyone in any environment to condition, to feel better, to increase your cardiovascular system, to increase your core strength, and everything that you do with the inertia wave has carryover to every function you do in the gym, in life. It's just that much better.
So explain to me how somebody sets this up so they could understand, the listeners could understand what the setup is.
There's 50 different ways. I came up with 50 ways to anchor the inertia wave, from out of the trunk of your car, your door jams at your house, bike racks, fencing, squat racks in the gym, anything, 2 trees in the backyard, anything that's 24 to 36 inches apart, never closer than 24 inches, never wider than 36. Could be a drywall, could be in the studs, whatever. The bottom line is you anchor it to a solid object, 24 to 36 inches apart, 36 to 40 inches off the ground. Then you walk back with with your feet no further than 12 inches apart. Everything I'm saying is in the instructional videos.
Right.
You look over the horizon versus the battle rope where you're all hunched over. Look over the horizon, sternum high, and you shake the water off your hands until you create this massive wind sound. Anything you do with the inertia wave, if you don't hear a wind, you know you're not doing it right. That means you're not walked back far enough. That means you're not having enough tension on the tubes. So as soon as you have that wind sound, you know you're doing it correctly. And then you just learn the different methods. We call them methods. You call them exercises. We just call them wave methods. There's about 18 methods, whether it's the beginner methods, the advanced methods. And we also have different hand positions to affect different regions of the body.
Explain that.
So the upper, called the thumbs up position, is up here, which is more posterior chain, shoulder blades. Then we have the pronated position where your hands are down here. So there's all these different hand positions that we can do as well. So it really takes place of the jump rope. It takes place of cardio. I can't tell you how many people don't do cardiovascular activity on machines anymore because they don't have 30 minutes or 45 minutes to do an elliptical or treadmill. And we also know that it's a waste of your time to be just like reading a newspaper on, on a treadmill. I mean, come on. I don't get it. I don't get it either. I know we're definitely on the same page as far as cardio and how effective a HIIT workout is. So how long, I know you said they should have, if somebody says, okay, I'm going to take out my inertia wave, I'm going to do my HIIT workout, how long should they be doing it? The intervals are how long, and how long should the whole workout be? Because it's a high intensity interval or metabolic training system, you go by your perceived rate of exertion. So if you grab the tubes and you go as fast and as hard as you can, you might say to yourself, oh my God, it's been 30 seconds. I'm winded. I better slow down. So you might just slow it down a little bit. All right. Maybe that wind sound is, instead of a volume of 100 is maybe 70. And then you catch your breath, you go back into it. So it's really based on your own perceived rate of exertion. You can't tell anybody. It's like asking somebody, how long can you jump rope for? I don't know. How winded do you get? Right. So it's all based on your wind and how you feel. Okay. And how young can somebody be to start using this, would you suggest? I'm glad you said that, because we have it in school systems right now, age 7, all the way up to age 90. We have adaptive training programs, senior citizen, active living programs. We have it actually in retirement homes, all the way through the A-list athletes, the professional football players, hockey. It's everything in between. So age 7, We have kids programs where they're using the 2-partner device, so the kids can connect kinesthetically with one
I love
another,
that.
working
Yeah.
on their cognitive function
Yeah.
that way. And that's called the Inertia Wave Duo, which is our
Mhm.
2-partner device. We have the Inertia Wave Solo, which is the anchored device, and the Inertia Wave Strong, which is the solo that you used,
Mhm.
but it has all the attachments to do strength training as well.
I will tell everybody it was very easy. Once, I didn't read the directions or watch a video. Dave set me up, but it was a very easy setup. And once I got the hang of it, I dug it. It was very, very cool. And like I said, it really kicked my ass. And when you're talking about the retirement homes, back 2016 or so, my mom had a stroke and it left her paralyzed on one side and 80% speech impaired. And, she wouldn't have been able to use something like that. But I'm thinking about all of the other people that were there having therapy, and what a great creation you developed. It's going to help so many
Right
people
now
with, and carry it anywhere you go. You can take it on vacation. You can take it anywhere with you.
Yes, and it is. I had a long conversation with a physical therapist from Texas today. He bought 30 units and he's putting them in all his locations, things of that nature. So again, it's very versatile depending on your goal.
So what's next?
What's next? I'm going to keep on riding the wave, so to speak.
Okay.
No
Yeah.
pun intended. And just get as much education out there as I can. I am creating a prototype right now of the world's first standing hip thrust in lower body leg machine for women. It's a home
Ooh.
exercise device. So when you go through one repetition, like
Mhm.
decelerate, accelerate, one rep, you're going to
Mhm.
work your quads, mostly your glutes, quads, and hamstrings, all in one repetition. It's a standing device, very cool. And the prototype is made. It works. We've had it tested. Just right now, I'm just building up enough capital to take that to market.
I'm excited for you. I really am. Congratulations on all your success. And I have one last question before we part ways today. And
Okay.
that is, because you have taken so many risks, what does it mean for you to be fearlessly authentic? Because you are, I think,
man.
you really stand in your truth about a lot of things.
That is a really good question. So give me just a second here. I'm going to say, Jody, look, I live my life according to my own values and goals. So I'm true to my own personality, my values, my spirit, regardless of the pressure that I'm under to act, otherwise. To be authentic, successful, you have to experience self-actualization. I would say it's a balance of what's occurring within us, in our heart, in our soul, in how we represent ourselves outside. I mean, that's probably the best way I can answer.
Well, it came from your heart, so I appreciate that, and I appreciate the time. I'm so glad you were able to jump on here and share this amazing product that you created with so much passion behind it and so much science. And
Inertia Wave.
Inertia Wave, everybody. Where can everybody find the Inertia Wave? Please give us that, your website.
Inertia Wave is found, well, we're on Instagram, Inertia Wave official page, but to look at the product itself and to get into our store, it's inertiawave.com. INERTIAWAVE.com, inertiawave.com.
Amazing. Dave Parise, thank you so much. And I'm sure I'll talk to you soon. Or see
Thanks,
you in the
Jody.
gym. Okay.
Thank you for
Bye-bye.
having me
Thank
as
you.
a guest. Bye-bye.
So that was Dave Parise from the Inertia Wave. It was so great to have him on the show. We have actually known each other for a very long time. And, I think he had a prototype of this product like 20 years ago. I think he was working on it. So being in the fitness industry and understanding the importance of a HIIT workout and knowing how great it is for your heart, and as Dave mentioned, your cognitive skills. One of the things that we don't realize when we're working out is that, you know, I've mentioned this so many times on the show, that not only does fitness make you stronger in your body, it also makes you mentally stronger. And I was talking to somebody today about the name of my studio, which was called Jody Fit, and how people still called me. I mean, you know, it's only been a couple of months, but people always call me Jody Fit. They know me as Jody Fit. They call me Jody Fit. And when I first opened up my studio, I had a billboard of me like punching not somebody, but punching like pow, pow, like get Jody Fit. And so I walk into certain places and people are like, Jody Fit, Jody Fit, Jody Fit. I was talking to somebody about it today. We were talking about branding and so on. And he was saying how it's such a great name because it's not only about physical fitness, it's about mental fitness. And when you've been doing it as long as me and Dave Parise, you know that the benefits are so much more mental than they are physical. And as I spoke about this in last week's show about discipline and consistency and building that confidence, it's about doing something that you promise yourself you're going to do all the time. So it might be taking a walk, going to the gym, moving, using the inertia wave, and then doing it. And that helps to build confidence. So it's more mental. And then when you go to bed that night, you're like, oh, I said I was going to work out. I said I was going to use that inertia wave that I just bought. I said I was going to do a HIIT workout. I did it. And then it felt good. I'm going to do it tomorrow. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about the inertia wave. Not that I'm an expert on it, but I did get to experience it. And I'm going to be posting, I did post my video a while ago when Dave and I did this back in September. He's a Connecticut guy as well. And it was a really great HIIT workout. And HIIT workouts are not long lasting. It's spurts of energy. It's not like running a marathon. It's quick bursts of energy and then you stop. Quick bursts of energy, stop. Quick bursts of energy, stop. So you can go. Dave didn't really put a time limit on it. As he said, you know, how long can you jump rope? How long could you jump rope? How long can you do something that's fast, like a quick sprint? And it's usually 4 minutes that you can do it and then stop, do it, then stop, do it, then stop, or 16 minutes. When I was training my clients and when I do a HIIT workout, I usually go about 16 minutes. I do 4 minutes where I don't stop, like 20 seconds on, 10 seconds stop, or 40 seconds on, 20 seconds stop. But you have to listen to your body. And it is a hard workout, but you can make it, as Dave mentioned, you can make it as easy or hard as you want. It's a great, great, great product to use. And I'm so happy for his success. And he really always has been ahead of the learning curve. And he was kind of a mentor to me at a certain point. And I'm just really happy for all of his success. And I wanted to talk about fitness again, besides the inertia wave, and just finishing everything out here today, because fitness has always been a priority in my life, and I made it a priority for my daughters. And I think I made a post about this the other day, about how it is at the core of who I am all the time. Like, I can't be Jody Harrison Bauer without being Jody Fit, because that's just in my DNA. I can't imagine, and I'm lucky to say I'm still healthy enough. I hope I'm still healthy enough. I'm not old. Well, some people might think I'm old. Excuse me. But fitness doesn't need to be, for me, it's lifting weights. That's what I love to do. I've tried bar, I've tried Pilates over the last 42 years. I've tried all of those things. But at the end of the day, what I love to do and what I think most people should try is to lift weights. Now you might say, I don't like to lift weights. Well, I'm going to ask you, have you ever tried to lift weights? Did you lift too heavy? Did you not do it for 30 days? I'm not saying you needed to lift weights every day, but did you try to create it as a habit? Were you consistent? What didn't you like about it? If you're a woman and you say, I didn't want to have big muscles, let me explain something to you, ladies. You are not going to have big muscles by lifting weights. We do not have enough testosterone to build muscles like a man. Okay, that's why they look like that and we look like we do. Now, when you see women with big muscles, it usually means that they're taking some type of steroid, extra hormones, because they can't get completely jacked like that without taking something. However, there are women that build incredible, beautiful muscles and do get very big and love it. But nobody's saying that you have to do that. And you do that by not lifting heavy. But I'm going to tell you from 40 years of experience, I have never seen a woman, nor have I ever trained a woman. And I train my women pretty damn hard. Let me tell you, I've never seen a woman get big. So anybody who's listening to me, whether you're 20, 50, 60, but if you are some 20-year-old in your 20s, in your 30s, and you're like, no, I'm not going to do that. It's going to make me big. It's not. Do you hear me? It is not going to bulk you up. It's only going to bulk you up if you're taking shit to bulk you up. In addition to lifting weights, and the reason it's so good for you is because it builds muscle around your joints. Around your joints, you build the muscle around your knees, around your hips. So it's important to have a strong back. It's important to have strong glutes. You know, people want great asses, myself included. Work out, lift weights. That's the way you build a shelf. That's the way you build a great ass. And the benefits of having a great, strong, beautiful, round, elevated butt is that it protects your lower back. So if you have strong abs, you're going to have a strong lower back. Now, if you work your entire core area, which is your glutes, your abs, and your lower back, then you shouldn't have any back problems at all. So when I hear women who are young, like I'm talking in their 20s, say, I can't do that, I have a bad back. Well, why would you have a bad back in your mid-20s? I'm going to tell you. A, they're overweight. B, they're sedentary. C, they have a bad diet. Bad diet, sedentary, doesn't lift weights, doesn't move. That's why you have a bad back, girlfriend and guy friend. So that I heard somebody in that age group telling me that. I know I'm getting all pissy here today, but some things just really do piss me off when I hear them, and not piss me off like I don't care. Piss me off like, why can't you hear me? Why can't you hear what I'm trying to say to you is that you have to move your body, you have to stop drinking soda, you have to stop eating candy, and you have to start moving your body. It doesn't necessarily have to start with lifting weights. It could start with walking. I talked about walking last week. It just starts with baby steps. Let's take a walk. Let's take a walk with light weights in our hands. Let's take a bar class. You can't afford a bar class? Then download any of the apps, the fitness apps on your phone. Go to YouTube, it's free. And look at apps that show you exercises you can do in your home without any type of weights. What that's going to do for you is let you know how you feel after you've done that workout. You're going to release those feel-good endorphins, and you're going to want to do it again. That's why people get addicted to fitness. Now, getting addicted to fitness is not addicted to anything is not great. You need to have that balance. But I'm saying that is one of the reasons that people do actually get addicted to fitness in a bad way, because getting addicted to anything is not good. Any type of extreme behavior is not good. We want to find that balance. But that is why, because they have those feel-good hormones, they release them and they want to come back and do it again. So if you are a beginner, and again, I talked about this last week, if you are a beginner, if your lower back hurts, if your knees hurt, if any of your joints hurt, I want you to look at your diet and I want you to look at how you're moving. And I'm talking about this because Dave was on the show. And if fitness, I would talk about fitness every single week, but I didn't want this to be a fitness podcast because at the time when I started this podcast almost 3 years ago, I still had my studio and I felt, let's just keep this separate because I'm talking about fitness all the time. But I'm bringing more and more fitness into the show because it's part of who I am. It's part of what has helped me become fearlessly authentic. So if you are not working out at all, but your joints hurt, most importantly, I always hear that that somebody's lower back hurts. Please get moving. Please just walk and start cutting out sugar. Start cutting out the fried foods. Start incorporating leafy greens like broccoli and green beans, just to name a few that most people know. There's a whole list of leafy greens that you can Google. Try to incorporate more lean meats. Try not to eat red meat so much, maybe twice a week. Stay away from the fried foods. And for God's sake, stay away from the friggin' soda. You don't need any of that. So I want to thank Dave for being on the show and sharing this amazing, amazing product that he created. It got me off on a rant about fitness. The HIIT workouts are amazing. It burns fat so quickly. It will just dial you in so fast. If you are lifting, if you are doing a HIIT workout and using that inertia wave, if you've got your diet dialed in, you are going to be so hot for the summer. I can't even tell you. And oh, by the way, your summer bodies are built right now. If you want any information about what I'm talking about, because I know what I'm talking about, because I've been doing this for 40 years, during the commercial break, there's usually an ad about my Jody Fit Jumpstart meal plan. Go and take a look at it. I made it really, really, really simple. I created this after I was on the cover of the New York Post and had gotten global attention for being the oldest woman to ever try out for Sports Illustrated. I was on Good Morning America. And after I was on Good Morning America, I was on the cover of the New York Post. The story did so well on the cover. They asked me to come back and do a Sunday spread. I was just being my fearlessly authentic self. And I didn't even want to do it because I thought, I'm not going to make an impact. I seriously thought that way. After I didn't make it to the first round, I beat out 10,000 women, more than half my age, by the way, ladies and men who are listening. I did that at 58. And I didn't do it for any attention. I did it because I want people to hear what I'm talking about. So if it was to get into Sports Illustrated Swim as a 58-year-old woman, my platform to them, what I pitched to them in my pitch to be in Sports Illustrated Swim, was that they needed to have more women over the age of 55 who are not supermodels, who are not old supermodels, like retired supermodels, like Christy Brinkley, Paulina Porzakova. I love her. Like, go Paulina. I want you to be on my show. We'll talk later. But not retired supermodels, not women who have been on in Sports Illustrated, but like regular women like me and like you, women who have worked their asses off, women who have trained hard and understand that it's important to be fit and healthy. Put a normal woman in your Sports Illustrated Swim issue who's never modeled, who's not an actress, who's not a dancer, who's not a professional anything. And that was my pitch to them. And the world heard me talk about this. And when I was on Good Morning America and I saw the women in the audience and I saw them smiling at me, I realized, wow, I have to do something. And so I created the Jumpstart meal plan. I tried to make it as easy as possible. I don't cook, so the recipes in there are really, really easy. There's a grocery list. There's I think 9 meal ideas. So go to jodyfit.com, Google Jody Fit. It's on there, the Jody Fit Jumpstart meal plan. It's easy. You could just download it. And it is a great, great plan because I am passionate about doing this. So thank you for listening this week. I love doing this show, Fearlessly Authentic. It is just so meaningful to me that I make an impact on you and inspire you to live in your truth, stand in your power, do everything that is authentic to you. Take those risks, because every single time we take those risks, we become more confident. And then we start becoming more confident, we become fearless, and taking risks just becomes a habit. And let me tell you, your whole life will change when you do that. So thank you for listening. I will be back next week with another amazing guest. So until next week, go and live a most fearlessly authentic life. And remember to rate, review, and subscribe on all streaming podcast platforms. Bye, everybody.